Hi. Just waiting for Phoebe, guys. Oh God, here comes the trolls. Natalie, be nice to me today. Here she is.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Haven't seen you for ages.
Hello, we literally just had a chat like this morning. Literally pretty much the exact same.
I changed my jumper.
Yeah, I changed into a sports bra, so...
I've got one for later, you know.
That's how it rolls. How are you anyway?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. You look like you're having quite a good time in the old lockdown.
Yes, I am. I'm having a coffee, as per. Yeah, like, I'm really enjoying... Like, I said this on my story the other day. I'm really enjoying lockdown, if I'm honest. Like, I'm enjoying the time to myself more than anything.
Yes.
Like, and just being... like just a bit more focused on myself instead of my business and stuff, especially, so I can just take a little bit of a step back.
I think it's been great to have the extra time, isn't it, and the change of pace to really concentrate on some of the things we just weren't paying much attention before.
Yeah.
So
exactly
yeah,
that.
I'm also. I mean, there's always going to be ups and downs, right? But I definitely feel
of
like,
course, like it's not like I'm like, oh, I've had no downs at all. Like I'm like absolutely fine this whole time. When I'm not. Like there's been days. It's mostly the weekends because. The weekends are where I travel, so I'll travel to do posing seminars, travel to wherever. Like I'll either be like in America or something somewhere. So like for me, the weekends it's like weird that I'm not doing anything. I'm obviously just at home, so that's where I feel like down. But then most of the times it's a quick pick me up, which is quite nice. So
it's the calm before the storm as well, you know. Before time, we'll be back to 120 miles an hour, and we'll miss these downtimes.
I know, this is the thing. That's the thing. I'm trying, obviously I know it's a bad situation, but I'm trying to appreciate where I'm at the moment because I will never get this again.
Yeah. We'll never get this opportunity to take a step back and really evaluate how we live and what we want to focus on, right?
Exactly that. So like for me, it's nice. I'm thinking of more ideas to help build my business, like instead of being so fully invested into prep and stuff as well, which obviously takes a lot of my energy up. It's nice to just literally be like, okay, like what can I focus on now? All that type of thing. So it's nice. And I know a lot of people have actually been not afraid, but like they didn't want to speak up and say like, actually, I'm enjoying this time. Like I'm doing well, because I know a lot of people have been down, which is obviously totally individual to each person, because obviously everyone's going through their own stuff.
Yeah.
But like it's okay to feel good at this time, because like you're being productive, you can see your kids more, you can do whatever like kind of needs necessary. Do you know what I mean?
I think you can still really work towards your competing goals as well, you know, especially when it comes to posing, because now we've got some time to actually dedicate to it, instead of trying to fit it in between our gym visits and our work and our family and our relationships and everything else we've got going on.
Exactly.
We've got a little bit more time to just take a step back and like work on what you need to work on that you probably didn't have time to.
Because posing is one of the main things that people do underestimate. And I mean, like when I start, like I will admittedly put my hands up, like when I first started my competing journey, like I literally learned how to pose a week before.
I know, me too.
Through YouTube.
And you can see that when you look back, right?
It was so, like, I look back at, I even posted on my Instagram,
your posing from that first show is one of my favorite things on earth.
I think so many people have been like, your posing from when you first start is absolutely hilarious, but like, I have no shame in showing how I used to pose, because I'm like, I do not want anyone to go through that, like, look like that on stage. So
I think people underestimate just how much the posing gives you on stage. It's not just about showcasing your body, it's your stage presence, isn't it? Your personality, the kind of aura that you give out.
Exactly. And if you're confident in what you know you're doing up there, then it'll be like posing is muscle memory, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
For me, once you learn how to pose and you're comfortable with it, it's like exercises. Like, you don't know how to squat straight away when you first go into a gym, but then you practice over and over again, and then you get better at it. It's the exact same as posing. So when you get better at it, then when you go on stage, it will literally be like muscle memory. It'll be really easy to do. So that's why I always say to so many people, because when I went on stage the first time and did my posing routine, I literally made it up. Like, I can't even remember where these poses came out.
And you rush through it as well, don't you?
You go really quickly. You're like, where the hell did that go? And you like rush everything. I think everyone's first time on stage, well, back in the day, I mean, now there's so much more resources where you can pose with like a lot of coaches, and you get like more secure with like your posing and stuff before you even step on your stage for the first time. But it's good now to look back at the times where I'm like, okay, that was it. I don't ever want to look like that again. So let's now improve. Do you know what I mean?
I think like 4 years ago, because that's when you started competing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 2016 was when I first started.
There just wasn't what there is now available to us. I couldn't even find a bikini apart from one bikini makeup.
As well.
And like now there's just such a wealth of resource for everything that you need to know, and there's like pages. I mean, even chats like this, right? I've had some girls message me saying how much they're learning that they didn't know before. Before they go on stage for the first time. And I think that everyone underestimates the posing, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's difficult because obviously everyone always asks like how many sessions should I have, or how long should I be posing for, or what should I do for poses and stuff. And obviously it's individual to each person. Like, I teach a lot of people that are stepping on stage that are also like used to be dancers or something, so they pick up things very easily, so it's easy for them to practice routines and get into the move, like the swing of things, easy. Whereas someone who's never stepped on stage before and they have no like balance or have idea of like rhythm or anything like that, they need more help. So it is individual to each person in your background and stuff like that.
I think especially if you're not like a natural born entertainer. So for me, I hate being the center of attention. Like, I don't mind in this kind of capacity, but like being on stage in a little tiny bikini, I have to take on a different persona as I walk out. You know, my hands are shaking the whole time I'm on stage, and it's like, I quite like enjoy it at the same time, but it's still so nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And somebody did ask a question saying, do you guys get stage fright? I definitely do. I wait in the wings thinking, why am I doing this? Like, oh my God, like, no, I can't. But as soon as you're out on stage, you just get swept up in the whole atmosphere, don't you? And your adrenaline kicks in. And I personally have had a couple of drinks backstage. Not enough for you to fall over though, guys.
Yeah, I know, literally.
But just enough to take the edge off. And yeah, I think that is when your muscle memory and your posing practice kicks in, because you don't have to think about what you're doing, because your body will move through it naturally.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's why it's that exactly that, you answered it there. Like, that's why it's so important to pose, because then when the nerves do kick in, you won't kind of go blankless or be like, oh my God, I can't remember anything. I mean, that still might happen, because like we never know what's going on stage, but you've got to make sure that your body like knows what it's doing a little bit, so at least you can then survive off that. So when you're on stage, like I always get nervous, because it's always a feeling of like, and I think that's just because obviously you care about the sport. You like, I want to do well and like show that I can do well. And sometimes obviously people are like, I'm scared to either do bad or make myself look silly. That's why people get nervous. And I mean, it is like you're going on stage in your bikini, showing the world like your body. That's a bit like quite scary as well. So, but obviously don't get as nervous as kind of everyone thinks. You kind of just got to make sure that you're chilled on show day as much as you can, and then like I said, when you know that your body is well in terms of like practicing and stuff, you know that your body is good for muscle memory and stuff like that, then you'll be able to easily remember posing, like literally.
I mean, I go to the bathroom at work and there's a big mirror, so every single time I go to the bathroom, which is quite a few times because I drink 4 litres of water at work, I just do a quick spin round through my 4 mandatory poses. And it just reminds
it's just that little bit of much that you need.
And now it's not really the big, like, how to flare your lats. It's literally like hand placement now, you know, and little tiny things that I can work on, because I have been competing for a little while now. So I do have mine more. And also I'm going to use the same eye walk that I used last time, because I'm still with the same federation. So it's made it a lot easier for me this time round to just refine it. But there's still times, as you guys saw at finals, where I'm really good at bringing out a lat spread because I've got a wing scapula, but still at finals, a couple of times, didn't I, my back pose, didn't pull my back open properly. And I watched back my video of you and Max just shouting at me, like, you don't think it on stage. And I just know that if I'd practiced more, because I actually was putting more time into my cardio rather than practicing, because I needed to get a lot leaner than I had been before, that this time I thought there's no way that's going to happen. And I posed the whole off season, every couple of days, not for long, 5 minutes a day, and just kept on posing, you know. And it's come as second nature this time round to know what I'm doing.
Exactly. When it comes to beginners especially, I think practice until you feel you are comfortable with it. So there's no point kind of saying, okay, this posing coach says I need 3 sessions, so I'm just gonna have 3 sessions. Like, practice for me, I always say to everyone, practice every day, but for at least 5-10 minutes, well, not even 5-10 minutes, 10-15 minutes to start off with, and then slowly, as time goes on, practice for longer and longer and longer, because obviously on stage, depending on obviously what federation you do, it depends how long you will be on stage for. So obviously NPC, IFBB, 2 bros, you have a pre-judging in the finals, so you do come off stage, whereas PCA, you stay on stage the whole time. So if you're not used to staying on, like, holding those poses the whole time, then you're not going to survive, like, holding on stage.
That's actually one of the things I've had to work on this prep and this year, is just holding the pose for a long time. So especially in the IFBB front pose, which to me is a side pose, because I use that as a side pose in PCA, I am shaking. Like, there are certain poses for PCA, because in PCA I'm fully flexed, you know, I've got every muscle is flexed, because that's the desired look for that federation. I'm shaking. It's really hard to hold a lat spread for 45 minutes, you know.
That's the thing.
And I can't drop my lat spread, because that's what gives me my X shape. So
exactly. And that's the thing, with posing in general, you want to make sure that you're holding that, like, when you stick that pose in your front pose, side pose, back, wherever it may be, you hold it and don't move. It's really hard, because obviously, like you said, nerves kick in, and like, you'll end up moving more and more and more when you go on stage and stuff. So like, you'll start moving your arms, you'll start fidgeting, and that's what I've really been drilling into my clients, is trying to make sure that they don't fidget as much. So holding your poses as long as you can. Try and hold your poses for at least 20 seconds, reset, and then go again, instead of it being like, oh, I'm going to hold for 5 seconds and then go, because your body's not going to get used to that. And especially when you're on stage, loads of people always say that they always shake, which I mean is different to each person. I used to shake quite a lot when I was on stage with posing. Now I don't get it at all, but some people do still get shakes on stage, and I think it's just down to each individual person, and either how nervous they are, how they're holding their pose, all that type of thing. So, and obviously it's just a mix of things, but obviously like I said, just making sure that you are practicing holding your poses, because you do not know how long you'll be holding them for on stage.
When I did the PCA finals, we were on stage for about 45 minutes, and they usually will judge you in the mandatories, and then you just do your eye walk for fun. But they hadn't finished judging between the top 2, which was myself and Natalie. I didn't tell her though. So when I could see that they were pointing at both of us, and we were just on the diagonal, and everyone waiting for the girls to do their eye walks. And I don't think that people realise that they can still see you, and you should still be in your best poses. You should still be really showcasing yourself. And I literally looked at them. I'm standing right next to her, and I'm thinking, it's between the 2 of us, because we were centre first call out. She's just called me a bitch. And I just thought, this bitch isn't going to win. And I went straight into my best pose and I held it and I flexed harder.
That's the thing, you've got to do that on stage. You've got to do that on the sidelines, because like that's a lot of, if I'm honest, a lot of decisions are made on the sidelines. If it's really close and they don't know who they want to go for first, second, even third sometimes, like the sidelines, they're going to keep looking back and forth between the two. So that's where sometimes the decisions do happen, like who wins, who comes second. So you want to make sure that you're in your best pose. If you're not, then that could cost you the placing. Do you know what I mean? So it's just making sure that you do showcase your best, like your best physique at all times. And I think sometimes, again, it's good to have a second eye, because even now, like I like to go over my posing with, well, Max, because he has a good eye.
Max is the best pose coach I've ever had.
Max actually taught me how to pose. So like because he coached me so Max is my boyfriend. So Max is like, he's just my second eye, and he literally was like, he taught me how to lat spread, he taught me how to pose, and just was like, I'll do this instead. Like little things like that. It's just everyone needs a second eye. Just to make sure that they are showing their physique as best as they can, because sometimes people don't realize that they're like, oh, I could actually be showcasing my physique a lot better, and I wasn't doing this before. Or someone says, oh, move your hand this position or move your foot this position, and they're like, oh my god, this looks better. Do you know what I mean? So it's good to have that second eye, especially when you're in prep. Your brain isn't going to be there all the time. So you looking at your posing and stuff and being like, oh, I don't know if anything needs to be changed. It just goes over your head. So it's good to have that second eye. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Even if you're experienced, like, I mean, we did a posing session together not long ago, right? Because I was in prep. I like to do one posing session at the start of my prep. So I've got the things I need to practice throughout. And then when I'm close to stage lean, another one or two to just see what fits my physique the best. Now I'm lean. Because that changes, right? I never know what my best front pose is until I'm stage lean. And I try and have that session like the week before peak week. Sometimes it's the week of peak week. But everything else I've nailed. So I just have to know, what one do I look best in this season compared to what I look like this season? Because you look different every time.
And this is the thing, and a lot of people actually don't get it. So you said like you obviously have posing sessions at the beginning of prep and like the end, which is good, because a lot of people will try and learn how to pose at the beginning, which is great, and then like not get any near when they're lean and in show day. Your body obviously changes as you get lean. Obviously, from off season to stage ready, you're going to look totally different. So your body is going to look totally different. So that's why it's so important to either carry on. You need to carry on getting, especially for beginners, carry on getting sessions throughout, or at least do what you do to get obviously a few each month or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Just because your body is changing, and you need to make sure that you are looking the same, or like showing off your physique as best you can each time.
I was really surprised at how effective Skype sessions are as well. I only did Skype posing last season because the person I was using for posing didn't have availability in person. So, but it worked so well. And I did a show every 2 weeks last season. So 3 shows in 6 weeks. And I had a posing session in between each show to kind of just swat up. What did I do wrong? Because obviously, no matter how practiced you are, sometimes it just goes out the window because you're nervous. I missed out one of my poses in my eye walk at finals, for God's sake, you know, like, and then I was so sure then, right, I'm never going to make that mistake again. I had another posing session with my pose coach, and then went on to Worlds where we didn't even do an eye walk because it run out of time. And you're like, but great. I know next time I'm not going to lose that pose out of my, because it was one of my best transitions as well.
Exactly.
Do you get a lot of people that make a lot of, like, you see them and they're posing really well in person and on social media, and then they get to the show day and it all just goes out the window?
What, in terms of like clients or just people?
Well,
so I think it's just it's how much you practice, and then again, like you said, it's nerves sometimes when you literally, it just goes out the window and you're like, I can't remember it. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to sometimes remember your poses and what you need to do, because show day is stressful. Like, you're depleted as like a lot. You're tired, you're hungry, and sometimes things just go out the window. But obviously to make things and matters better as much as you can, obviously practice as much as you can. I mean, I've had so many times on stage where I have like messed up my posing and stuff like that. And like it's completely gone out the window for me. Do you know what I mean? Or like I've rushed things through, or I've done poses wrong, or I've been like, oh my God, like I could have looked so much better at this point. Everyone has mistakes and stuff. No one is perfect. No. But over time, you can only progress and get better.
The more you practice, the less likely you are to make the mistakes, right? I think that a lot of people that I see, they just struggle with the lat spread, so the back pose. And for me personally, I mean, I've got winged scapula, so I have to hide it. So I became quite good, but I can remember trying to learn how to lat spread, and it was just impossible.
It's really, really
hard.
But
now, when I train and I'm in prep, in between every single set, I will lat spread. I will lat spread, you know, until it becomes so natural. And when I check in with my coach, I actually do a video. So I watch myself back, and I can see where, if I'm limited, you know, if I didn't spread enough. I have to not spread as wide because my lower body isn't as big as my upper body yet. So it's like just knowing those little things and practicing it every week for my check-in makes such a difference. Do you have any tips for people that are still struggling with their lat spread?
It's difficult because lat spread, again, is individual to each kind of person in terms of how you need to get your lats out and stuff. Like I struggled a lot when I used to do other federations and stuff, obviously not NPC, but obviously NPC you don't show your back off, so you don't need to actually do a lat spread. But now they are wanting more of like you actually do still, in my opinion, you still do need to do slightly a little bit of a lat spread, even though your back's not being shown. You still want that kind of little bit
shape,
of width.
Right?
Yeah, it gives you shape. Doing lat spreads and making sure that you know how to engage your lats it gives you so much more shape in terms of like what I do with lat spreads, especially is I have both of, so just in case of like engagement and stuff, what I do is have both of my hands kind of on my thighs and really push and engage my lats from down below, so you have them both in your thighs and try and make sure that you can get that engagement, and then slowly go up into a lat spread as you would normally. That's
it makes your waist look smaller, right?
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's one of the tips I usually use. It's difficult to, again, it's just individual to each person because everyone's body works differently.
And everyone's got different size lats, right? I know when we did my posing session, you're like, do not spread.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you obviously have been teaching, so I've been teaching a lot of people that are coming now over from the, like, obviously because the UK have only really been introduced to the NPC not that long. Yeah. So obviously I'm getting a lot of people now coming into the NPC and they're posing very, very strong and very hard from obviously other federations and stuff. Yes. And I'm like, dilute that and try and pose less, because you don't want to, it's almost like less is more. With to be fair, I think posing sometimes is less is more, in terms of like, you don't need to really flare your lats as much as you can or really flex everything you can, because sometimes that can really show in your face and it doesn't look comfortable. And when you're not looking comfortable on stage, they will be able to see that. The judges will be able to see that. So
I think that another mistake that I've seen a lot of people making for NPC especially is how much glute they show in the transition, because we always thought, you know, show the whole thing, look how peachy it is, into your side pose or your back pose. And then actually it was doing the session with you that you were like, don't show too much, you know, it needs to be that silhouette rather than cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing, because you think, okay, I'm turning to the back anyway, so I may as well just show kind of my whole glute. Versus I always say, when you're turning to the back, even with other federations, when you're turning to the back, show the side of your glute off, because you want to see the shape, not the full glute. Because if you actually show the full glute in that like side transition shot, it actually looks quite wide and flat instead of shapely and tight, if that makes sense. Yeah. So if you're showing it off, if you do like a transition to the back, always do it like step forward. And again, that's just down to foot placement, kind of how much you actually turn. And again, it's individual to each person. Some people don't actually have shapely glutes from the side, so they do have to, again, like twist all the way fully around, so they can have more of a glute showing, like that looks good. So again, it's just individual to each person. And the thing is, the amount of times I've done like different things for different clients because their bodies are different. Yeah. It just takes time, and again, it's just individual to each person.
I think that for me, like when I was in that pose, that NPC front pose, I always thought you had to kind of really lean over a bit and stick that glute out, you know. I'd see some quite successful bikini competitors doing that. And then a couple of my IFBB pro friends and yourself are literally like stand up straight.
Yeah, that's one thing I think especially.
But my glutes look smaller, but actually they do look smaller because I'm not sticking them out, but they're a much nicer silhouette and nicer shape.
And the thing is, smaller isn't a bad thing. Again, you want to make sure that everything's in proportion. You don't want your glutes to just look huge and out of proportion. Do you know what I mean? And showing off them as big as you can, because that's not going to do anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that obviously you are showing off your physique to its best and it's in proportion. Posing is a kind of, posing is an art to make your body obviously look a way that the judges obviously want, especially with bikini. So the one main thing you don't want to do is make yourself look out of proportion.
Yeah. Selena's just made a really good comment. Posing's like a diet. No shoe fits all. Everyone's different. And that's why I think it is so important, even if you know your poses, to see a pose coach, even if it's for one session on Skype, when you are close to stage lean or are stage lean, so that they can just tweak it to suit you and to showcase your best parts. Because we're all different, right? I mean, you could tell, I know, another girl, right, you need to flare your lats fully because they don't really have much of a spread, whereas obviously for me, it's my ribs are really wide. So if I flare fully, I would literally look like a Dorito.
Well, it's the same. Well, it's the same as me. Like when I used to do other federations and stuff, like I obviously had to flare my lats quite a lot, and it took me so long, obviously, from switching to the different federations to then going to the NPC to not flare my lats as much, because that's not what they wanted. They wanted more proportion. They didn't want just upper body to be like really flexed and really strong. They wanted literally everything to be in proportion. So it took me a while to obviously get used to that, but obviously now, as time gone on, it's like gotten easier for me to kind of like get used to.
Somebody's asked about the difference between the amateurs that become pro in Europe going into the pro league, which is predominantly like US, and they have quite a different look over there compared to what we have over here.
So in terms, so this is obviously, again, speaking from like NPC style. So I think there's not much of a difference, but I think because of the kind of split that happened with obviously the IFBB and the NPC, and kind of the Europe getting that like their pro card obviously taken away and stuff like that, we had like the look that what it used to be like was very hard and very like conditioned and stuff, and I think that's why it's kind of stuck like that a little bit more. So I think they are very two different looks, but I just think it's because the US has had the NPC a little bit longer than what Europe has, if that makes sense. So Europe's still trying to find what America actually kind of want, if that makes sense. But overall the criteria is the same. The criteria is obviously bikini, wanting to be balanced all over. No, like your condition doesn't want to be too hard. You don't want to be too soft. It's a balance between all aspects of condition, of posing, of poise, everything like that. That's what bikini is across all federations, in my opinion. So as long as you kind of bring that, and then what the feedback is personally to you, then you kind of go from there. The difference between just actual amateur and pro level of posing, obviously is a lot different, because you have, the actual only massive difference is you have more flexibility to be a bit more different within your routine, and your comparisons and stuff like that. So with a pro routine, you get, it's in limited time, but you're not going to spend 5 minutes on like a routine. It's unlimited time, but usually most pros take about I'd say a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, around that time. I mean, the longest what I walk I've ever done, my individual has ever done, I've done about a minute and a half, and that was me really dragging it out, like really taking my time. So, and then obviously the amateurs, you only get between 10 to 15 seconds with NPC. So it's a massive difference in terms of showcasing your physique. The judges are obviously looking at you individually a lot longer, which is obviously the kind of, I'd say, the asset you get from being a pro, and that's what you gain as being a pro. And then you get a lot more flexibility to show more poses, do more poses. Because I always say to my amateur girls for the NPC to try and just do one front pose, one back pose, and that is obviously it. You don't want to be doing too much because you have so much limited time it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to show everything off in that time. So you may as well do your best you can in those 2 poses, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main difference is obviously the time you get on stage. So you obviously gain that as a reward from being a pro.
Someone's asked me if I'm going to do NPC this season or next season, as well as PCA. So it really comes back to the different looks that are required, because I am PCA, and PCA really favour a very muscular, very dry, conditioned look, and that is where all the flexing comes in. And obviously NPC is just a little more softer, probably a little more healthy looking.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's difficult because it's all, bikini's always changing, right? So like, as much as I think a lot of people always say, like, NPC, they want a softer look, and a little, obviously, the thing is they want overall fuller muscle bellies. So what they want is overall more, if I'm honest, sometimes that means more muscle mass. So when people say they don't want them to be depleted as much, they want their muscles to be full, but they still want that condition there. Which I think a lot of people actually, like you said, mistake for being softer. Versus actually they want more muscle, which I didn't even understand that when I kind of first went in, and I was like, oh, they probably want a softer look, they wear this and that, but actually they probably want us with more muscle, but it looking like our muscles are more full, so not as depleted. So meaning your muscles have to, meaning your muscles have to be larger, so you have to have more muscle. So it's difficult to obviously hit that criteria, but so
I was going to do both this year. That's obviously why we did posing together. But the timing of the shows lined up that the NPC ones where I would have been a bit softer and not as lean, because my look for PCA finals or worlds is going to be extremely conditioned, because that's what they want, and I'm trying to be world champion.
You see, the thing is how you know what they want is going off. Well, this is from British anyway, based on what the British was. So having a look at the British finals, seeing the people that won their pro cards, seeing the people that won their categories, and seeing if you can then kind of do that look and see.
So it's just timing. I could have been a different. My physique we would have manipulated it differently for NPC. With my carb up would have just been another day or two, to be honest. But it's just my category for PCA is extremely dry, conditioned, and vascular, which I'm way too vascular when I look like that compared to the girls I've seen winning in NPC. But I'm a Masters, right? So the Masters category, we do look different because we are older. A lot of the girls have got very mature muscles because they've been training for 20 years, you know. Like, I am kind of sitting in the middle between, I would have also competed in my height because I've only been training for 4 years. So my body just doesn't have that level of muscle yet. I think I do better sometimes in my height, but for PCA, I obviously did well in Masters. But you really do need to just have a look at previous winners, don't you? Kind of, it's not necessarily what they're going to look for at that show, but just gives an indication of what they have preferred in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the thing is, every show is different. So, like, whichever show you go to, especially for NPC, because it's such a worldwide federation, they have so many judges across the border, so not every judge is going to be the same at each show. So you could do one show one weekend, and then the next, the whole judging panel is different, and their persona on bikini and what they prefer is so different. So
I mean, it's happened to you, right?
I mean, it's happened to me on millions of occasions. So like, and it's not a case of you changing your look fully, because obviously you have that look anyway. It's not a case of, oh, 1 week you'll be really, really full, have a lot of muscle, and then they say, oh no, we don't want you with any muscle, we want you really, really depleted. It's not going to be a case like that, but it's going to be little small changes that they prefer over someone else. And the thing is, that's the frustrating thing about bodybuilding. It is done on opinion, so you have to take that into account, especially when it comes to when it comes to posing, when it comes to physique, all that type of thing. So it is it's obviously all opinion based, so you just got to take it off that. But yeah, like you said, like trying to, in what category well, not category, but what fit you need to kind of bring, is always like look at past shows and what the winners have looked like, and see what they obviously look like. Not so you have to copy them, but seeing what the federation obviously likes, if that makes sense.
That weird noise is my cat, by the way. There's no child abuse going on in my living room. He wants to go in the garden and the door is shut, and he's have to wait until 2 o'clock. Because they're Siamese, they sound like human children, and I think my neighbours just must think I've got a baby that I can look after properly.
They're like, what is she doing in there? What is going on?
For goodness sake. Completely lost my train of thought now. So are there any tips that you would give people, because obviously there's a lot of uncertainty right now about whether shows will go ahead, if it's going to be this year, how many spectators there's going to be, there's just so much. So what is some advice you would give, especially for the first timers? I feel really hard for them because it's such a big thing to do your first show, and it's so much work when you haven't done it before. To have some of them are almost ready, you know, and had to pull out.
Well,
and some
a
of
lot
them
were.
and some of them don't know whether to start their prep or not.
Well, it's difficult because it's really uncertain, and obviously I hope to God that obviously the federations that kind of obviously put the shows together will give people enough notice to actually prep, so they wouldn't say, okay, you got 8 weeks to go type thing. Or like, I think a lot of the federations will respect that a lot in terms of like, they'll give us a good amount of time to say, okay, look, this is what's going ahead, this is the kind of shows we're going to work towards. I personally think there won't be any shows until like August time, so any shows kind of before that, I mean, anything can change, right? Like everything's been changing like literally daily at the moment. So it's a case of making sure that you're keeping up to date. If I'm honest, making sure that you're not just going off the rails, still having that bit of a focus. And even if it is having a little bit more of a diet, a bit more of a structured diet, just so you don't kind of gain unnecessary body fat during this time. Not saying that's gain no body fat, but I'm saying just unnecessary and kind of put yourself back. Make sure that you keep yourself in check and give yourself like structure, because that's one thing I think a lot of people are struggling with, is the structure, the balance. Obviously it's totally different to what people are used to, so it is going to be hard, but making sure that you do have structure so you don't put yourself back. Pretty much that's the main advice I would give. There's nothing I could say to kind of help the situation because it is so uncertain, do you know what I mean? But making sure that you can be as structured as you can during this time is like key.
I think that it's really important to keep your coach for now. Some people don't like to keep a coach in the off season. I do understand it's expensive, but this is when you build your shape for the stage. Actually, the dieting is not the hardest bit, is it really? It's like,
for you and me, it's not.
I know, we're lucky. Our genetics.
For us, it's quite easy now because we've done it so many times. But for people, it's that accountability that they crave the most. And I think what you need to do during this time especially is obviously have that accountability, try and have that accountability behind you to get, so you can be like, okay, this week I've had a really rubbish week, what can I do to kind of help me? And that helps you keep on track, and knowing you have that coach behind you to help you is a lot easier.
And they see you in a different way as well, don't they? You can see the fat, but they can see what's underneath, because that's their job and that's their expertise. And hopefully they are very au fait with the federation that you're going to compete in. And I think that it's so important to just keep them for motivation. I've struggled to train at home, and it's my coach every week, even if I haven't checked in because I've been a bit naughty, that still keeps on top of me, saying, you know, that if you want to be world champion, you've got to be working now. So it's up to you. Like, are you going to drag yourself out of the rut that you've put yourself in? Or are you just going to stay there? And she said, whatever you want to do is up to you. But if you want to progress, you need to keep plugging away. And when we have more certainty about whether I will compete or not this year, we'll reevaluate our approach. You know, I might stay in off season now until next season, but I might not. So I need to just keep on ticking my boxes. And it doesn't mean necessarily dieting down for me, because I lean up so quickly. We're really lucky. PCA have actually really outlined that we've got 10 weeks after the gyms open until they put their next show on. So I know that I need to keep my body fat level about 10 weeks out if I want to compete this year. And it's just really good because my coach knows what 10 weeks out is on me, you know? I don't. So
the thing is, it's difficult because you need to make sure, especially during this time, like you said, I am very much like a tough person when it comes to competing and stuff like that, in terms of like, I don't care kind of what you think, but you have to kind of like get what needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? If you want to turn pro, if you want to go to the Olympia, like, you've got to do what you got to do to get there. If you want to sit in your kind of self-pity and be like, oh, I feel bad because obviously the situation, again, everything is so different to each person, because obviously everyone's different in this situation. Like some people have lost jobs, some people are like really struggling mentally, like, so I can't sit there and say that to everyone. But if you have the goal to turn pro, to go to the Olympia, to succeed, to win shows, to do what you want to do with your competing journey, you have got to keep your structure together and make sure that you don't put yourself back during this time as much as possible. And that, like you said, that doesn't mean dieting, like counting on dieting and being like staying stage ready until shows kind of come about, because that's what I think a lot of people think, like, oh, I need to be stage ready, then sit there until shows be announced. Like that's not going to do anything for your mental health or like or your body at all. So it's just a case of being smart. It's a case of being smart and knowing what you need to do to take the steps forwards to get to where you want to be. There's no point being, oh, I'm going to write this year off completely because do you know what? Everything's really uncertain. Everything's really shit. I feel shit. I'm going to write it all off and go and kind of like have like a paddy. I'm really not one for like self-wallowing or anything like that. Obviously,
you just got to be kind to yourself, right?
Yeah. You got to be kind to yourself, obviously, because the situation is not great at all. And it's so uncertain and it is really mentally hard for a lot of people. But you've also got to outline what you still want and don't write this year completely off. Yeah. Because I think that's what a lot of people are doing. And that's not even just competing, that's just with everything, like everything in general. Like any goals you have in life with this year can still happen, but you just have to make sure that you outline what you want. Don't kind of be like, oh, I'm just going to write off and wait until this all of this is blown over to kind of continue on to something else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think another key thing that I've seen when I've been talking to my friends is some of them are just not honest with their coaches because they don't want to let them down. They don't want them to see them in a like more negative light or think they're weak or whatever the reasons are, because they've cheated or they're not training, whatever they're doing. And I think it's so important to be so honest with your coach, because you're just cheating yourself otherwise. They can help you adapt. They can do what they can to help you, but only if you're honest with them. And I just had to say to my coach, look, I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing. You know, like I haven't trained for 4 weeks. And she was just literally like, look, that's fine. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. We can't force you. But this is what you need to do right now. So if you can, do. And I'm back on track.
That's what your coach is there for. And like, again, it's not just that, like, again, being honest with your coach is your part, do you know what I mean? And what you kind of put across to them is that's the data, do you know what I mean? So anything that you don't give them, they're not going to be able to adjust. So if you cheated on your diet because you're in a really stressful time, because loads of things have gone wrong, that's fine. But tell them that so they can then say, okay, let's slow down cardio this week, or do you know what, let's up food this week because you're like stressing out and you're finding it really hard. Like little things like that, you need to tell them and be honest with them. Like I said to Adam, like, because I think it was the day my show got cancelled, we went round Max's parents' house, because I think I'd literally just come back from America that time, so I think I brought back loads of like American goodies for like Max, like I always do.
You're such a feeder.
And I went round to their house and obviously gave his little brother and sister Oreos and stuff like that as well. And then literally that evening, my show got cancelled. I was like, I'm gonna have some Oreos because I wanted some Oreos. So I had Oreos, and I told Adam the next day, like, yeah, I had Oreos last night, by the way. And he was like, that's fine. Just don't do that again.
Don't be silly.
Like it's not like you need to hide them or be ashamed and be like, oh my god, I went off plan. And they're not going to be like, you're a rubbish athlete, you're off the team type. I mean, if they do that, then that's a bit harsh. But I mean, if you do that over and over again, then I understand. But if it was one time, but little things like that, you have to be honest with, because otherwise they can't help you.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think we're all human, right? And even most of our coaches have competed before. They get it, or they have at least dieted before, right? They've all done photo shoots, for example. You still have to get into pretty decent nick for a photo shoot. And it's hard. And when you're stressed, a lot of people do tend to food, or for me, I just get lazy when I'm stressed, because I'm sitting there like, but
you're like, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to move, I don't want to actually like train, like it's hard. And that's when the competing brain and dedication and focus has to kick in at that point. But when there's no date to actually work towards, it does become really difficult. Like me now, I'm not prepping as such, we're maintaining where we're at. Like we're not going into an off season, but we actually have reversed out of my dieting phase, because my weight was rapidly dropping to get ready obviously for show, and we've now had to like be like, okay, let's stop this because we don't want to either lose muscle mass or get to a point where it's really uncomfortable for me to sit out that way. So we were like, okay, let's up food, all that type of thing. So we've maintained well, but it's not a case of like I'm dieting right now. It's just a case of maintaining. So you just have to make sure that you stick at that level where you feel comfortable at right now. And for me, it's I have those hard days where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know when I'm competing. So like, you have to have that motivation to keep going regardless. Do you know what I mean? When you're in that dieting phase. And the thing is, I've said this a lot of the times, I find it easy because a lot of people are like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you dieting during this time? And I'm like, as cringy as it sounds, this is my lifestyle. Even if I was on off season, I had no shows to work towards, I would literally be having my turkey and veg every day, my potatoes, maybe a few little things here and there. But like, this is how I live. So it's not a case of me, like, I don't identify it as prep because this is my lifestyle. Do you know what I mean? And I know you can relate to that. I know I have my fair share of foods because your girl loves to eat.
I mean, we've eaten some food, haven't we?
We love food. We love food. And I mean, each week I have 2 off meal plans a week during this time. So I have so much food off off my plan and stuff. Like, I'm happy with where we're at, and that's obviously in my plan. So it's just a case of like turning this whole prep thing into your lifestyle, not thinking of, okay, I have 12 to 16 weeks to diet and this is the only time I'm going to be eating like this, and in off season I eat like crap. Like, this is how we eat 24/7 kind of like all the time. Do you know what I mean? I think if we were to take away your Tupperware, it'd be weird.
The first 2 seasons I did struggle with it. It wasn't my lifestyle, you know. Like, I actually only started going to the gym when I was 31 or 32. I think I competed for the first time when I was 32. So it was like not my lifestyle. I was a party girl before, you know. I drank my whole 20s.
I mean, I was the same.
Yeah, and then actually, as each prep goes by and as I make more and more friends in the bodybuilding community and more like-minded people that do live the lifestyle, it just becomes more normal, and my taste changes every diet, actually. So I used to love fried food like so much.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
And I struggle with fried food now.
If any of my college friends are watching this, like, they'd literally be like, Phoebe used to eat like absolute crap. Like, even when I met Max, like, I worked in a Topshop actually. And I always, on the way back home, I always used to get a Domino's pizza, like, every time. Like, I was such a bad eater. But like, for me, and that wasn't me being like binging or anything, or I was just, I just ate the food that I wanted to eat. You know what I mean? It wasn't a case of like, I just literally, I love food and I still love food now, but like, we've learned to control ourselves. And for me, I like to feel like, oh God, so I saw this quote, or not the quote, like, someone made a statement and I literally got under my skin so much, and I posted it, and it's someone saying like, there's no point kind of sticking to your diet now for shows because of the uncertainty. You may as well just relax and have like relax and do something or whatever. And I was like, it frustrates me because people don't believe that this is actually our lifestyle. Like, I enjoy to like eat the fuels that fuel me and train because it mentally helps me. Do you know what I mean? It helps me get throughout the day. It makes me feel good training. It makes me feel good eating well. And people are like, oh, that's just you in prep. And I'm like, no, that's me all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's me all, like, most days. Yes, in off season I'm a bit more flexible. I have a pizza more times than often, or a chocolate bar more times than often, and even alcohol. But like, it's not a case of me, I will eat pizza every meal and do nothing and not train at all, because training and eating well helps me throughout my like everyday life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a lot cheaper to diet right now as well. You don't have to go to shop as much.
And you can buy everything in bulk and everything the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, most of my team. So my coach is actually dieting now. She's in a diet for a photo shoot, but yeah, she's in a deficit and I'm not. And it's been really interesting to see. I asked her yesterday, how many girls did you have in prep at the start of this quarantine? And I think there was 14 of us.
Yeah.
And everyone's just gone to maintenance.
Yeah. And
just staying where we are until we know what happens, you know.
Exactly. There's no point going, I'm not saying going in off season, because obviously there is point to going in off season. There is points to going in off season right now, your cat.
He just wants to sit on my lap like a baby.
Oh, obviously there is points right now. Like some people like you have so much equipment to be able to put that food to good use versus some people that don't have as much equipment right now, haven't got the calories to kind of put to good use to actually go in an off season and actually make progress. So it's different to each person. Do you know what I mean? You have to make sure that you have a coach to try to identify that, because equipment ain't cheap. Do you know what I mean? Like you spend so much money. You get a new piece of equipment every week. I see it and I'm like, what have you bought now?
I got a text message from DPD saying they were delivering something today, and I literally said out loud, what have I bought now?
Yeah,
it was my Prozis delivery.
That's what I mean. Like it's good that obviously with a coach and stuff, you need to make sure that you're identifying what to do now.
We've made like an interim plan, and then we're just both very like flexible. We'll see what happens. We're not sure what's going to happen in the future, but we know what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
In response to what is happening. I'm still meant to check in every week.
I still do. I love my chickens.
It's Wednesday night. I check in tomorrow. I just don't remember what day it is, so I keep forgetting to check in.
That's the same with me. I'm like, is it check-in tomorrow? When's check-in? Like, I just get confused because I'm like, what are even the days anymore? Like, it just goes by so fast. And I must say, by the time you know it's Monday.
Even with all the equipment that I have, I still struggle for the motivation, because the gym is the environment for me rather than just the equipment. And it's a bit of my social life. You know, I go to King's, I'll probably see like 15 people that I know really well. We have a laugh, and it's an occasion. I miss King's.
I miss King's so bad.
We'll be back.
I know. It's difficult because that is, like, obviously the gym we go, the purpose behind the gym is obviously to lift and to train and whatnot. But like, what comes with the gym is so special, and it's nice to see those faces every day, and they know what you're going through, and they say, how are you? You have chats with them and you connect with them, and it's nice, and that's what I miss most of all about the gym.
I love walking in when I'm in prep and they haven't seen me for a week, and so I've made changes and they're like, damn girl, and I'm
and I'm like, yes.
And they're like, look at your abs.
Me. That is actually me.
Oh, you know.
They're like, oh, your shoulders looking good, and I'm like, thank you.
Because you don't always see it yourself, and that's also another reason to have your coach, isn't it? So they can keep your head in the game. But I'm missing the gym, but I'm dreading how busy it's going to be when we go back.
I know. Like, it's going to be, the thing is, for the UK, I don't know actually when we're going to be allowed to go back.
No.
That's the thing. So I'm like, but obviously the US, they kind of already slowly now reopening gyms and stuff. And for us, like, it feels like the gyms are going to be the last thing to open. So it's very backwards, and I'm like, I'm unsure when things are going to kind of like change. But at the moment, like, I'm blessed to kind of have the equipment that I do have. So I'm all right to not go back to the gym until like things are fully clear. Do you know what I mean? I just want to go back to America. I'm like, when can I get a plane? I'm like looking like, when can I next catch a plane? Like, go on holiday, or well, not on holiday, but just go somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
I just want to go on holiday, mate. Selena's asked if we'll be worried to go straight back. I actually am a little bit nervous because I've got asthma. So I'm a bit of a higher risk for what happens if I do get coronavirus. I mean, I might be fine, but I might not. And to go back just to train when I've got a squat rack and all my plates
a lot
and
stuff
here.
Now,
So I think I probably won't go straight rushing back. I don't have a membership anywhere at the moment anyway. So it would be, I'm just gonna play it by ear. But I'm sure that gyms will be doing their part to make it as safe for us as possible. So
in America and stuff, what they're doing is they're doing schedules, so you can book when you go back and stuff, which seems quite good. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just a case of like, just being smart with it. Don't go rushing back and be like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym straight away, because I mean, it's difficult because when they are obviously open, that's the first thing you'll go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? So
she's frozen. Hello.
Oh, sorry, Max just called me and I was like, get off the phone.
Yesterday my phone rang as well and froze it all, and I was like,
I was like, get off. So no, but it's just a case of making sure that you're just being smart with it again. Instead of going straight back to it, if you have equipment that you've obviously bought throughout quarantine, then you may as well kind of carry that on just for a little bit longer until you kind of see what the gym's like and stuff, and don't go to the gym like 5 times a week, 6 times a week straight away. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully the gym obviously will then put into place like schedules or something like that, so it will be safer to kind of go to instead of it being like everyone just there. Like
I don't think it'll be a free
scared
for
for
all.
Pure Gym, and what's the other one? Anytime Fitness, and what the commercial gyms, they're just going to be absolutely rammed like they were beforehand. So hopefully they put something into place where it's not so rammed.
There'll still be social distancing after the lockdown, so they will have to put some kind of measures in place, I think, to be able to remain open. So I think that the reason that I would not want to go back is just how bloody busy it's going to be. Especially if you go to a gym where there's only like one of each thing, one leg press, you know, one whatever you need to use. Because that's my gym that I usually go to. They have one leg press and one leg extension, and it's like a queue sometimes. It's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I'm just gonna play it by ear.
Yeah, that's the thing. And the thing is, it's again like things like, are people going to clean the equipment? You're going to have to make sure you clean the equipment before and after you use it, which you should be doing anyway, because that's kind of gross, but I sometimes forget. But like little things like that, you now have to change your routine in the gym. So it's going to be difficult, but it's just making sure that it's safe for everyone. Yeah.
And again, it's just work with your coach, isn't it? To make a plan and what the best approach is for you.
Yeah, exactly that. Was there any more posing questions or anything like that anyone wanted to know or like that?
But do you have any more posing pearls of wisdom in our last 3 minutes?
I mean, no, like just obviously with posing, you just have to, like you said, just make sure that you are practicing and making sure that you are like doing as much as you can with posing like you would for your training, your diet. Like don't think that it's just a case of I'm just going to diet and train and that's it, because it's more than just getting lean. It's showing off your physique as much as you can to this best of its abilities. So just making sure that you practice as much as you can. And yeah, like I said, make sure that you do get a second pair of eyes so you can make sure that you are hitting things correctly.
I think that something that I failed to do before is wear my shoes, my posing shoes, enough. Because we spend our whole prep, say 16 to 20 weeks in trainers, and then we're not used to wearing the shoes and we're wobbling around on stage, and you know you're posing but your ankles are killing.
Yeah, exactly. Making sure that you practice as you would, and actually practicing in bikini as well. So don't always just practice in your leggings or shorts or anything like that. Make sure you practice in your bikini, because the way your bikini sits, you want to see how that sits when you're doing the poses and stuff like that as well. And you want to see how your body actually looks in the poses when you're in your bikini, because that's what you're obviously going to be posing on stage.
Selena's asked, do you have advice for posing when you're not lean? I think you just got to suck it up mentally.
Unfortunately, it does look different, and obviously you are going to look different. Like sometimes you'll be in your side pose and you'll be like, great, that rolls there and I wish that wasn't there. But you've got to suck it up and be like, do you know what, like I'm just doing it for the flow to make sure that I don't become too rusty. And again, doing the poses in your off season or something like that, you're obviously going to look different, but it's just a case of making sure that you're keeping that muscle memory like alive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it's not necessarily what I look like in the off season when I'm posing. It's the flow of it and the transitions, and just making sure I'm working on that and how slowly I should be doing it, because I was always doing it too quickly.
Yeah, so in off season stuff, focus on the little details. That's what I would say, is focus on the smaller things instead of the actual how you're looking. Just focus on the details and the movement and stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah. It was lovely.
Really lovely. I told you it goes like that.
I know. I'm literally like, damn, that was an hour. That was quick. And it's so easy to talk to you because I literally talk to you on the daily anyway. So,
well, everyone, thank you for watching and booking on Skype posing with Phoebe.
I actually I've released loads of different deals and stuff for like my online posing. I've actually just released bikini assessments and stuff like that as well. So you don't actually have to pose with me. It's just feedback form. So just get in contact with me and we can get you sorted for posing.
Cool. And this story will be on my live for 24 hours, but I'm going to put it on my YouTube as well. And the link is in my bio. So
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for having me. And I'll speak to you probably in like an hour or so.
Yeah, probably.
See you later.
Thanks, everyone.